and welcome to my channel. Today I've got a chatty video for you about tattoos. No, I haven't actually gotten the new tattoo that I want yet, obviously. Also actually because I hadn't actually gotten around to deciding on what exact style I want and on finding a tattoo artist. It's still a work in progress in my mind and all. But anyway, I thought it would be useful really basically to do a video all about really that process of things that I feel are important to consider before getting a tattoo done. You know, just some things that I think about in the entire process of deciding where I want a tattoo, what I want it to look like, that sort of thing. Just because that's really, to me, something very important to think about beforehand. Because once the ink is in your skin, you can't move it around anymore, like it's there. So, you know, you want to be sure that you actually want it to be the way it is before you get it done. If that makes any sense. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Now, first off, obviously, an important thing to consider is the placement of the tattoo. Me personally, I really, well, with my first tattoo, I really wanted it, my first and thus far only tattoo, yeah. Point being, I really wanted it to be not all the time visible, like, well, really, I didn't even mind it being visible all the time, I just didn't want it to be out in the sun and possibly fade too quickly. So basically that's my reason for getting it done, like at the top of my leg. Basically a little bit above my knee, you know, just so it can be visible when I choose it to be visible. Like when I'm wearing like tights or no tights and like, you know, shorts, a short skirt, a dress, whatever. It can be visible, but it doesn't have to be visible. If I'm wearing something longer, then it's just not visible and doesn't get burned by the sun and that sort of unfortunate thing. And if it doesn't match my outfit of today, I can also easily hide it, which to me was an important thing. Like, I wanted a spot that was easy to hide, but could also easily be visible. So, yeah, and I also wanted a spot, me personally, where I could see the tattoo. I don't really see myself getting a tattoo on my back anytime soon. Just because I can't see my own back, and I do want to be able to easily see my own tattoo. That's just me, of course. Like, of course, your considerations can be way different. Like, it's not to say, like, there is no right or wrong. That's just really the things that I considered. Also, in terms of placement, if you want other tattoos in the future, you know, you might not want to have a very tiny tattoo, like, if, for example, if you get a tiny tattoo on your chest, then you can't get a big chest piece unless you cover the tiny tattoo up, because it's not like you can, like, Photoshop it around on your actual physical body in real life. So yeah, those are just things that I consider beforehand. Like with my legs, this tattoo is like, it's on the side of my leg, it's very nice and visible when I want it to be. And it also leaves enough space around it that I can put other tattoos around it too. So yeah, those are just things I really take into consideration. Also with the other tattoos that I'm planning, I'm thinking I want a lot of them on my upper legs. I want them big enough to stand out, but I want them small enough that I can actually do maybe like a half leg sleeve sort of thing. Without them being too, I don't know, pushed together, I guess. Because I just personally like the aesthetic of having more space between them on me. Then the second thing, or third thing, I kind of lost count. Anyway, yeah, I always think future me is an idiot, so I always make a list so I don't forget stuff. But anyway, next thing on my list is color or no color. Me personally, I really wanted it to be like black and white, grayscale, that sort of thing. Just so it wouldn't clash with any outfit choices. I really felt beforehand that would be very important to me, but actually, now that I think of it, like, there's a lot of styles that I like, but whether I'm wearing full gothic gear or full 50s pin-up gear, I don't actually care if my tattoo fits with it, because the tattoo by now, like, it's part of my body, so it just fits with it anyway, because it's on me. At least in my opinion. So yeah, really in hindsight, that's not as important to me as I thought it would be, that my tattoo would not clash with my outfits. But if you do care about this sort of thing, then, you know, just think about what colors fit with most of your outfits if you want a color tattoo. Just to be sure that you won't regret the color, I guess. Yeah, me personally, I think I might get color tattoos in the future. Not sure yet, I kind of like the aesthetic of grayscale tattoos. But yeah, just, you know, do what you want, but it's something to take into consideration. Like, you know, whether you want color in your tattoos, whether you don't want color in your tattoos, whether you want a combination. You could have, you know, grayscale tattoos and color tattoos, of course. Like, there's no rules against it. But yeah, that's another thing to just think about beforehand. And to just continue on that subject, you know, like not just with the color, but with the entire design. Do always make sure that it's a design that you like. Like, you know, this probably goes without saying, but really do think of, you know, will I still like this 5 years in the future? Of course, you can never be sure. And of course, if that's the kind of thing you're into, it doesn't matter if you, like, it's perfectly fine if you are happy with a tattoo that you just get on a whim. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But me personally, for myself, I have the rule that I need to like something, I need to want something tattooed on me for at least a year before I get it tattooed on me, so I'm sure that I won't be completely over it 3 months later. Because that will be kind of annoying. So yeah, this is a rule that I have for myself. As with like my current tattoo, really, I wanted it for like 2 years before I got it, so I knew that I would probably like it forever. And I still love it, so that's a good sign. But yeah, that's also just something I find important for myself personally. But of course, everyone's different, so if you're into like, you know, flash tattoos and spur of the moment decisions, that's fine too, of course, like to each their own. But yeah, just do be aware of what type you are before making such decisions, is what I'm trying to say. Also, there was something else I wanted to say about it. Okay, that was what I wanted to mention. One comment that I, well, very rarely get is, but what would it look like when you're 80 years old? Well, that's like the one thing I don't take into consideration and I just don't find important at all. I just sat on my hand and now it's all marked with my trousers. Oops. Anyway, not important. Point is, yeah, but what's also not important is what a tattoo is going to look like when you're 80 years old, because, well, me personally, I always figure that if I get to be 80 years old one day, I probably won't still be looking young and sexy at all whatsoever. So really, like, I don't think by that time I'll go around wearing mini skirts and all and showing off my tattoos. And even if I would, I'd probably have the, you know, basically, like, I don't know, like if you as an 80-year-old have the confidence to do that, then you probably don't even care about what your tattoo looks like at that point. I mean, you know, I'm just for myself, I'm just counting on wrinkly face, saggy boobs, and really, like, what the tattoo looks like by then, just not important, because really, I just don't think that's, like, an important thing to consider, because by the time you're 80, what are the odds of you still caring about how tight and fresh your tattoo looks? I don't know, I don't think I'm actually going to care about that at all. So, yeah, this is something I don't take into consideration at all whatsoever. You know, just as long as I think I'll continue liking the subject of the tattoo, it's fine by me. And then lastly, also a very important thing, tattoo is art and art is expensive. Of course, you can like, well, let me just compare it to makeup. A makeup palette from like a complete budget brand will sometimes be good, but it usually won't be as amazing as a really good professional brand's makeup palette. Basically. Like, a Wet n Wild palette isn't just usually going to have the same quality as an Urban Decay palette, is what I'm trying to say. Of course, there's exceptions, but on average, you know, if you want quality, it's going to cost a little bit more. And the same thing really goes for tattoos. My tattoo was about 300 euros. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Could I have gotten a tattoo, or, no, not this tattoo obviously, but could I have gotten a similar tattoo for cheaper? Yes, definitely. But it wouldn't have looked as good, it would have looked cheaper, it would have been less good, because a good artist is expensive as usually. And especially with a tattoo, it's going to be on there approximately forever, unless you get it covered or lasered. So, you just don't want to cheap out with it. Like, I really recommend going for an artist that's good and not take into consideration how cheap they are. Cheap is not a priority. It needs to be good, because it's a tattoo, you can't change it anymore, you can only get it covered or taken away. You can't just, like, yeah, it's like, it's not like a makeup palette where you can just exchange it for a different one really easily, you know? So yeah, really go for quality with a tattoo artist. Yeah, basically quality over quantity is what I'm trying to say here. And yeah, that was basically my final advice. So yeah, that's also the end of this video. I really hope it was useful to you, or at least interesting to watch or something. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, please click the like button, it would really help me out. If you want to see more of my videos, you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel. I actually focus mostly on makeup tutorials. This was also a tutorial which came online last Tuesday, if I'm correct. In case you're watching this in the future, I'll just put a link up here if you want to see it. For now, at any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!